Presidential candidate enthusiastically makes her mark on the volunteer state. Good evening, everyone. Democratic candidate and former First Lady Hillary Clinton made her way from South Carolina to Music City today. News 2's Aaron Steinbruckel is live at TSU, where Hillary just wrapped up. Aaron, what did Hillary focus on?
Well, Hillary talked about a number of different topics. She opened up her speech by congratulating Barack Obama on his victory in South Carolina. Then she didn't mention any of her other competitors for the rest of her 15-minute speech. She touched upon many different things like the economy, the war in Iraq, healthcare, even somebody who asked the question, what will you call, or what will we call Bill Clinton if you're elected president? Now, Senator Clinton also took a couple of swipes at the current administration, focusing on the need for change in the White House and the fact that she is the right candidate to implement that change. Now, as I mentioned, there was an absolutely packed crowd here tonight. A lot of the people are still milling about here, some of them leaving, some of them talking to Hillary Clinton up front. The fire marshal actually had to come in here and clear out some of this crowd because it was completely overflowing before Senator Clinton could get things started here. Now, we caught up with some of those people who waited in line literally for hours.
Tennessee's definitely the place to be right now.
Hundreds of eager Hillary Clinton supporters packed the hallway at TSU waiting to get in.
Do you guys like stickers? I'm really happy with the diversity in the Democrat Party this year and very hopeful for the country.
Supporters were let in about an hour early because the line was so long. Some people lined up 3 hours before the event. Tennessee voters we talked to say Clinton's presence Saturday night in Tennessee means a lot.
Because this is my alma mater, TSU. I'm a student here, so I'm so happy that she chose our school.
And Democratic voters who are undecided say they appreciate the diversity represented in the 3 Democratic candidates vying for their votes.
Well, I'm excited that Hillary's here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Many voters came to TSU to hear Senator Clinton's position on important issues like the economy and Iraq.
I'm kind of worried about the war and everything. So many of our soldiers over there dying. So I want to know what her views on that.
I think Hillary's a really strong candidate, and she definitely knows what she's doing and has a lot of experience and, really has thought out what she wants to do.
Now, right from the beginning, Hillary emphasized the fact that this speech tonight wasn't just about her. It was more of a conversation with everybody here, the hundreds of people, some of whom traveled over 150 miles just to be here tonight. Now, Hillary did answer about 45 minutes worth of questions. She told the voters here that all eyes are now tuned into Tennessee and what voters here will be doing on Super Tuesday. That primary, February 5th, is less than 2 weeks away. And of course, before she left here, she asked everybody for their vote. Somebody who asked the question or stood up to say people who are here tonight, they have to actually go out and vote. Otherwise, what Hillary says in speeches like this just don't really translate into much. We're live at TSU. Aaron Steinbruckel, News 2.
Well, Clinton spent the evening emphasizing the need for change in the United States government. She says it's time for the president to take up for the people. Stick with News 2. We'll have continuing coverage of this year's election.
Act has done so much to overwork and undervalue educators in our country. First, there was the highly qualified teacher provision, and we rose to meet that challenge. Now we're faced with the Bush administration's decision that we should have a highly qualified, effective teacher requirement that will possibly label 25% of our teachers in our country as ineffective through no fault of their own, based on children who are in poverty and can't be educated because this administration has not done what it needs to do to help them. I'd like to know your position on the highly qualified, effective teacher amendment.
Well, I thank you for your comment. Are you a teacher? Yes, I am. Thank you for teaching. Thank you. Well, for those who are in education, you already know that the No Child Left Behind Act, which was intended to provide more resources for schools and create more support for the teaching and learning enterprise, has unfortunately not been either funded or implemented, in my view, effectively or appropriately. And it is very clear to me as I talk with not only teachers and principals, but as I talk with parents and students, that there are some deep concerns. And I have to say that I believe that the way it has been structured and now adding requirements like what you're talking about, the effectiveness on the qualified, really does a disservice to the educational process. Because I believe in accountability. I think everybody does. You've got to have a way to measure how kids are learning. But it doesn't make sense to me that you would penalize schools and teachers that were doing the best they could with the most difficult students to teach. They're the ones who ought to be given even more support and resources for the job they are doing. So what I hope to be able to do in the next 2 years as I serve on one of the committees that will look at this is to really take a very hard look at what we need to be doing to really support our teachers and our students. And I have a lot of ideas about that, but the most immediate challenge, as you point out, is what's going to happen with No Child Left Behind. And you can count on me to ask some very hard questions about what that's going to mean.
This week, I'd like to talk about something that's close to my heart, and something that's close to every parent's heart. That's health care for our children, and for all of our children. As parents, we're supposed to protect our kids, and that means taking care of them when they're sick and keeping them healthy when they're not. But so many hardworking parents in America cannot afford even basic health care for their children. So just when they're most vulnerable, when they're worrying about getting their child well, they have to worry about how on earth they're going to pay for it. That's not right. That's not America. So I'm proposing a plan to make quality, affordable health care available to every single child in this country, because 9 million kids still have no health coverage. And they're not her kids or his kids or their kids. They're our kids. Look, health care is something I have fought for my entire life, and I think you all know that I have the scars to prove it. From my days on the board of the Children's Hospital in Arkansas, through my time in the White House and on Capitol Hill, I've worked for quality, affordable health care for everyone. I'm proud to have helped start the state children's health care insurance program during the first Clinton administration, which provided health insurance for over 6 million uninsured kids across our country. It was the largest expansion of health care in over 30 years, and a program that I've continued to fight for as the senator from New York. But we need to cover every child in America, and we can. My plan expands S-CHIP so that middle-class families can be covered or buy into the same plan. With health care costs growing twice as fast as wages, it's middle-class families that now need a hand, and they sure haven't gotten one from this administration. Well, when I'm president, we will have universal health care coverage in our country so that every American has the quality health care they deserve. As a senator, I say let's start now by covering every child. Thank you for listening, and let's keep the conversation going.